Welcome to Blake Street Banter, where one of us knows what the word banter means. The other two are just along for the ride. Tyler, say what's up.
Hey, hey.
Shelby, say hi.
How y'all doing?
Hey, we are joined by Shelby Lackey, a pitcher in the Colorado's organization, the Colorado Rockies. Obviously, you'd know that when you listen to this. Recently came from pitched with Spokane Indians last year.
Yep.
What are you doing right now in the offseason? What are you up to?
So we are currently training at a facility up in North Scottsdale. So I moved down to Scottsdale back in 2019 and have been down here every offseason since. So it's actually, there's a lot of Rockies players that are there. Rollison's there, Nick Bush, who's my roommate's there right now, Pete Lambert, Dom Núñez, Ryan McMahon hits there. There's a lot of guys that are, Noah Goetz is there. So, top to bottom, there's a lot of guys that are training there right now. And we got a good group right there, and we're having some fun training, throwing, just getting it all in right now.
Do you ever do like live BP?
Yeah, we do. So those are actually coming up probably in 2-3 weeks.
Oh God.
Yeah. Who's the coolest Rocky that you've struck out?
I've actually haven't faced any Rockies players. I've never faced any Rockies players during live BP. I faced Dom Núñez while I was in Puerto Rico. I walked him.
Yeah. Did he talk about it?
Oh yeah, we've talked about it since. So we've hung out a couple of times and obviously see him every day working out. So we always talk about how he got the best of me.
Okay. So since you haven't struck out anybody, who will you strike out?
Ryan McMahon is like my older brother, and we always go back and forth about it. So I'd love to be able to face him one day. So that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, not to single anyone out, put anyone on a pedestal, but who's just like the coolest guy there? It might be Ryan Mac. He always seems really cool when he's like interviewing on broadcasts.
Yeah. Ryan Mac's my guy. He is actually married to my best friend's sister.
Wow.
So he's literally like an older brother to me. Every time I'm down here before we move into our place and stuff like that, I'll live with him. Lived with him my first spring training. So, he's always been the guy that I'm the closest with.
Well, so when did you meet him then? Was that
I met him back? He was playing for Modesto in 2014, so my junior year of high school.
Okay, wow. Yeah, we were actually gonna, get to that question as getting into where you're from and stuff. Like, did you go see Modesto Nuts games and stuff?
Yes. Yeah, I mostly went to Stockton Ports games because that's closer to me, and that's where I went to school, Stockton.
All right.
So it was right down the road from us.
But getting into that, those college days though, once you hopped in, stayed kind of near home. What was that like? Just keeping it close to home, but still getting that college experience.
Yeah, I loved it. I got offered after my sophomore year of high school that summer, so I played for their like summer ball team that year and got offered. And I jumped right on it because I knew I kind of want to stay close to home because I'm a big family man. And I loved that my mom, grandma, grandpa, sisters, dad, stepmom, all of them could come watch any game at any time. So it was awesome. And to stay on the West Coast was even better because they could come to some road games and stuff like that.
So what was that all like? You're a California guy getting to, just travel all over the state. Like you're more NorCal, but you get to go hang out in Malibu a few times. Like
no distractions whatsoever.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. It was a lot of fun. I'd been a lot of those places already just playing travel ball and stuff like that, but getting to play there collegiately it was awesome. San Diego, you can't beat that. We played state and University of San Diego. We played down in Cal Poly. SLO is an awesome place. Obviously Pepperdine, LMU. Like there's just a lot of cool places that we got to play that are smaller scaled schools. Like my Nick Bush went to LSU. Like I wasn't playing at the Arkansas, the Ole Misses and stuff like that. So it didn't have that crazy atmosphere, but the places were still pretty cool.
Is Pepperdine as beautiful as it looks?
Oh yeah, it's off the charts. Sick.
Just absolutely nuts, right?
You look out of left field and the ocean's right there. It's like second to none, but it's beautiful.
That's incredible. I remember we drove through the campus. My brother-in-law lives out in LA, and we did a trip to San Diego one time. Yeah. And we drove around Pepperdine campus, nice up in hills. And I'm just like, how does anybody do anything here? Like, you have this beautiful scenery, gorgeous campus, and you're just, I don't know how anybody does anything.
Yeah, I don't either. It's crazy.
Did you actually do anything other than baseball?
We went out to a couple places for dinner and stuff like that. But, while you're there, it's mostly for work. So the play aspect of it's not there. Like if I went to school there, that'd be another story.
Right. I want to talk about that West Coast baseball. You kind of mentioned it, Bush down in the SEC. We've talked to a few ACC, SEC guys. Yeah. Recently, we talked to Noah Davis, West Coast guy. Talked about the difference between West Coast baseball. How is it different than like what the SEC was?
We played like a couple Big 12 schools and stuff like that when I was in college, but just playing with guys that like in pro ball that have played down at LSU, like all the big schools down there in the South and stuff like that. I mean, there's a stigma around West Coast baseball that small ball is the way to win, and it's pretty dang true. I mean, the styles of baseball are just completely different. So, I mean, there'd be days where there'd be a Friday game, like opening day my junior year, we faced a lefty from Cal Poly who was 82 to 86, and he carved. So it's just like you don't go down to the SEC and see that. So, and I'm not necessarily saying the baseball's better. It's just a different style, and it's just what everyone's used to. But I mean, bunting guys over, stealing bags, stuff like that. There's not really the home run hitters. There's not guys hitting 25 jacks, stuff like that. So it's just a different style of baseball, and it was kind of cool to get to see both sides of it.
Right. And that's pretty much what Noah said. So like, how does that, obviously that's like created you as a pitcher. Like that's your experience, right? Did you experience anything different once you got to the majors, specifically Spokane? Adjusting your game for it, or?
No. So I'm a sinker slider guy, and I've always kind of just been like that, coming from being a position player, like a shortstop. I have a lower arm slot, so I just naturally have that sink and run on the ball. So I've always just tried to kind of stay true to who I am. So I haven't like Noah Davis and I are completely different pitchers. Mm-hmm. Like he's a fastball up in the zone kind of guy. He gets a lot of swings and misses like that. More I'm like try to get early contact or, a couple of foul balls, and then I'll throw my slider and get strikeouts. So that's how I usually get my strikeout numbers up. But, I've always tried to stay loyal to the sinker. So I haven't really, Mike New showed me a grip my freshman year of college when I told him I didn't want to be a pitcher. And he was like, at first meeting, he was like, I think you should come to the pitcher's meeting. I'm like, nah, Mike, I'm good. I'm going to stick to being a position player. And sure enough, spring ball rolled around and I was in the bullpen being a PO. So, and now here I am as a pitcher in pro ball. So I guess he was right, but he showed me one grip and I've stuck with that same grip for the last 6-7 years.
How many thank you letters have you sent him?
Not as enough as I should. I mean, I talk to him probably once or twice a year and we still stay in contact, but I should write him more letters for sure.
That's pretty cool. So yeah, I did not know that about you. I didn't know you were recruited as a position player.
Yep.
So like, did you ever play a position in college, or what did you straight to the mound?
I played one inning of center field against USF on a Sunday. We were winning 12-5. So New called me down from the bullpen. It was like, hey, you want to play center field? I'm like, yeah, as long as I don't have to hit. I haven't taken swing of bat and forever. He's like, no, you'll just be a defensive replacement. I'm like, yeah, I'm down. So that's the only inning I've played. Played a couple. I hit a little bit in college summer ball, actually.
Yeah. Okay.
In the Northwoods. So I got a career 333 average in the Northwoods. So it's a little humble brag.
And never going back. So that's it. That's the career.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I was recruited as a shortstop.
Okay. And so you just had that meeting and that was it. That's wild.
Yep.
That's wild. Yeah. Did it take you a while to like wrap your head around that? Like, yo, I'm gonna be on the mound.
Yeah, my high school coach jokes about it all the time because when I was going into college, he was like, I kind of see you as a pitcher, and I'm like, dude, I'll never be a pitcher. I hate pitching. I hated it. And so and then I get to that fall meeting and I'm like, damn, I think he was right. I'm going to be a PO here pretty soon. So he gives me a hard time about it all the time.
Well, then, yeah, take us a little more through that pitching journey, because I think you were primarily a starter in college, but then you get to Boise and you're coming out of the pen. So just take us through that, like the arc of going through, both styles.
So my freshman year, for about 3/4 of the year, I was a reliever and wasn't pitching much at all. I mean, because it was my first year being a real pitcher, I wasn't as consistent as most people. I mean, Finn Delbonta Smith was our guy out of the pen our freshman year. He was my roommate. He's actually my roommate here in Scottsdale too, and roommate in Spokane. So, so I was just not as consistent. And then towards the end of the year, I started to figure it out a little bit, and then I became a starter. And then I started the rest of the time in college. My sophomore year, I got hurt. And then my junior year was the year I'd start Friday games and I'd actually close Tuesday games as my bullpen. Yeah, because my pitching coach that year talked about it, and he's like, you don't really get a lot out of bullpen, so let's make you compete for your bullpen. And I was like, yeah, that sounds cool to me. So I'd actually throw an inning on Tuesdays. So I did that, and then going into Boise as a reliever, it was different, but I loved it, and I love being a reliever now. I mean, I've done both in pro ball too. I started in 2019. So I think the thing I love about being a reliever is you kind of know exactly how long you're going to pitch. So you can kind of go balls to the wall for your whole outing. Like, you don't have to save anything as a starter. I always felt like I had to save something, right? Just in case I win another inning or something like that, or I didn't want to show this guy this pitch because I might face him again. And being a 2-pitch pitcher, it was really tough as a starter. I mean, I have 2 different fastballs. I have 4-seam and it's 2-seam, but I have my slider off of that, and I'd never thrown a changeup. So, I mean, it was tough, but I mean, I'd way rather be a reliever. It's a lot more fun for me.
So you saw your stuff, like I imagine, tick up quite a bit too when you're, going starter reliever.
Yeah.
Like, what would you say if you were to, have to stretch out and throw 5 versus just, do your normal thing, throw 1? Like, where do you think your fastballs would sit right now?
I'd probably, if I had to go 5, I'd probably be 2, 3, somewhere around there, and try to hold that for the 5. I mean, that's kind of what I did when I was in Asheville. I was like 2 to 4, 2 to 5. But as a reliever, I can, take it up a little bit more because I can just let it eat.
God, it's so cool that you can just throw fast. I've always, one of the things that would be super fun would be like being in the batter box against, a professional pitcher and looking at what 90 is.
Yeah.
I feel like I can touch 70. I can put back on ball at 70, maybe 80 after a few. 90. I'm like, no, there's a reason there's a different level here. And I don't even know how you can do it yet somebody else can.
It still blows my mind. I mean, just playing catch with pitchers that throw hard, it's like, there's no way if I were to stand here and try to hit this, I can hit it. And the way that pitchers can make balls move now and stuff like that, there's just no way, no shot.
I remember last season when Jacob deGrom was going through his just crazy stretch. Twitter just was broken over this question of, if you stood in the batter's box for 50 pitches, could you make contact? No. And it just was breaking. No. So many people were like, oh, it'd be easy. And then some people were like, I wouldn't even try. I don't have a chance.
No shot.
No way.
He's ridiculous.
Yeah, he's next level.
Do you this is kind of an aside. Do you think that he is the most talented pitcher to ever play baseball? Just with his pure stuff, at least.
And if he's not, he's pretty damn close. I mean, you could easily make an argument about him being the most dominant stuff. Yeah. Maybe not stuff wise, but he's just got it all. It's just unbelievable. What he does.
Prime Verlander. I put Prime Verlander up there too.
Yeah, he's definitely up there. I mean, and then you obviously can go back in the day, Prime Clemens is just
oh gosh.
Randy Johnson. You got guys like that, so you can definitely make an argument about that though.
Is there
knock on wood he stays healthy this year, just
I know.
Yeah, just so we can watch.
Baseball.
Yeah.
It's incredible for baseball. Is there anybody like you kind of mimic your game, whether it's your mental or your pitch combos or anything?
One guy I
Anybody you
really
watch?
yeah, I like to watch Trinan a lot. I mean, obviously he's extreme with some of this stuff, but I love the way he pitches. I love how he's kind of straight edge on the mound. When he gets out there, it's business. But the sinker slider combo, I just love watching that. And like, so Strasburg's the same way. He's a sinker slider guy, early, like later on in his career. But those are two guys that I really like to, pay attention to closely.
Yeah.
Wait, so when you kind of started pitching, were those guys that, you kind of took a liking to because your style fit what they were doing?
Yeah, exactly. Actually, Mike News, actually, the guy, he told me Strasburg, he's like, yeah, every time Strasburg pitches, I want you to watch. He's like, here's some videos you need to watch. We're going to break these down. We're going to see why he throws this in this count, why he doesn't throw a slider in certain counts, stuff like that. So he's always been kind of the guy for me.
Yeah, it's a good guy to mimic.
Yeah, and another West Coast boy.
Yeah. Is there a difference for you, like coming in from the bullpen, like say runners on first and second with one out in the 7th, compared to like coming in on the 9th, fresh slate, all clean?
I mean, the hard-o answer would be no, and just every time you step on the field, but like when you come in with somebody else's runners on, you try to be there's that little tick more locked in, because like, hey, that's my guy that I got to protect. I got to save his runs, because I know the guy if there was a guy to come in after me, he'd do the same thing for me. So there's kind of like this aura of like, hey, I got you if you got me type thing. So, and we were actually really good about that in Spokane this year. It was awesome.
Yeah. I'm glad you didn't say like, no, I just kind of held it against him for putting those runners on and like clean up his dirty work. So I'm glad you did go that route.
Yeah. No.
So,
no.
But I mean, there's got to be a little bit of that mental piece to it, like you said. Like,
oh yeah,
I liked your answer. That was a cool answer.
Yeah.
That Spokane team, that was fun, right? Was that fun?
I mean, I tell everybody that I possibly can tell. I'll tell some random person at the grocery store that 2021 was my favorite year of baseball I've ever played in my entire life.
That's what they all just saying. So cool.
It's second to none. Like the team, just obviously the baseball was really fun because we were really good at the end, but the guys, it was the coolest thing ever. Like we were all so close. Like there was no clicks. Like there was no like, no, I'm going to hang out with him instead of you type thing. I mean, especially in the bullpen, our bullpen at the end of the year was unbelievable. I mean, it was dominant. I mean, just at the back end of the bullpen. So like, obviously I was closer early on in the year, got hurt. Dugan came up. I mean, did his thing. You guys know, big fans of Dugan.
Yeah.
So he did his thing and I lost my job to him, but I was like, well, if we got to still find a way to win. I mean, I was a little bitter about it, like deep down, obviously, because I wanted to be a closer, but I knew that like he did his job and he earned it. Like I didn't lose it to somebody that, just happened to cost it. Yeah. So, I mean, but we always, there was a 4-headed monster at the end of the games that in Spokane at the end of the year with Dugan, Finn, Stephen Jones, and I. I mean, Stephen Jones is slept on in baseball. He's a bulldog. I love that guy to death. And that's kind of the mentality we took into the end of the years. It was like a dog pound. We were just a bunch of underdogs. I mean, if you go through the roster and look at the bullpen, the guys in the bullpen, there's no like super high rounders. There's free agents, like Stephen Jones, Finn, 20th rounder. Jake Summers was our highest drafted bullpen arm at the end of the year, and he was a 10th rounder, and he wasn't even drafted by the Rockies. So it's like that's one thing that I loved about that team is like we took the underdog mentality and just ran with it. And I mean, we were 15 games out of playoffs at one point, and we came like 10-game heater, like lose a game, 8-game heater. Like it was just every day you show up to the field, it was just like, oh, we're gonna win. Oh well, just another day on the job. I mean, we played a game against Eugene. We were down 8 runs in the bottom of the 8th inning. We put up 11 spot. I mean, that's just the epitome of the year for us. I mean, it was a lot of fun.
That's sweet. I need Spokane to figure it out. Like we can't watch any of that stuff. They don't have a broadcast on the MLB TV, and it just
I know.
You can check this box scores, but it doesn't do it justice.
Yeah, I know. I feel that. Trust me, everyone's parents were on our rear-ending about that this year.
We should start a campaign, send some strongly worded letters to MILB, like put this in the CBA, you assholes.
Yeah.
So flashing back one, step for you to Asheville, like you guys had a pretty, I would say, cool pitching staff. Like, you had Rollison, Feltner there, Riley Pint, who, for us Rockies fans, kind of like a myth or a legend, just because like, we didn't get to experience enough of him, but like
you get the full pint glass
throw. And then you had like Nicorak, you had Bush, you had Jake Bird. Just, what was that team like?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, especially early on. I mean, we were pretty good early on. We never really hit our stride, to be honest, because and that team stayed together pretty much the whole year. Obviously, Ryan left, Rollison, he left pretty early on. But, we stayed together pretty much the whole year. We had the same starting lineup, 3, 4, 5 of the starting pitchers from the beginning of the year. Jake Bird's a freak. If you guys didn't know that, he's unbelievably good at everything. He's
like off the diamond, even is what you're talking about.
Like foosball, like he's a foosball king.
Yeah, he is a competitor till he dies. Like, it's crazy to see that guy. If you try to see how many times you can chew a piece of meat in a minute, he'll try to beat you. It's just everything's competitive, that guy. But he's one of the most down-to-earth dudes. Like, he really cares about his people. PJ Poolin's another guy that slept on in our organization. You got to get his name out there too. You got to show him some love.
I need him to check his DMs.
Like, I'll shoot him a text and let him know.
Check those.
Yeah.
But like, he was just otherworldly in Spokane this year. Like, that dude was striking out like almost half the people he was facing.
The guy throws an invisible fastball. Like, it's not even fair. It's he could throw he throws a fastball probably 88% of the time, and he's dominant. And he doesn't throw hard. He's like 91. Every pitch is 91.
It's like great Matic stuff.
Yeah, he can pitch up, down, in, out, any count. So it's fun to watch him pitch.
So what do you have to say? Just, Rockies fans, we've had a couple rough years. What do you just have to say to everyone, like, about, the bullpen guys, especially because, you are with them day in, day out. Like,
yeah, there's some good times coming. I'll tell you that much.
Thank you.
Even the guys, there's some guys above us, like Jake Bird will probably hopefully debut this year. Like, there's some guys that are going to be good and be good for a long time just because of the way that they are. And I know, don't get me wrong, the jump from the minor leagues to the big leagues is astronomical. So obviously you don't really know, but I think that we have some guys that are some very good competitors and care a lot about their craft. And that's a big step in a lot of ways.
Yeah. I think I want to go on record and say, like, we're a pro bullpen podcast. Like, the bullpen guys just don't get any love. You don't see their names on the top 30. You don't they don't ever get the recognition. Like, you have to find guys like you, like Puyan, Darnell. Like, you have to search for these guys, like, if you're not familiar. And so it's just like,
we're the garbage men. We're the garbage men.
Like, nobody likes you. You're just there.
Don't get a lot of love, but we're needed.
Right? You're the high of the high, and you're the low of the low. You're so, like, that's tough, right? Going in and out. But so we're going pro bullpen podcast here on out.
Love that.
So, but so going to that mental piece of that bullpen stuff, like, what, you have a bad outing, right? Like, and you're done. Like, what's the thought process when you're pulled or when that inning's over? Like, are we reflecting? Are we trying to fix it? Are we trying to go back in and see what we did wrong? Or is it just like chalk it up to a bad night, let's start over tomorrow?
Easy answer is chalk it up and get after it tomorrow. But it's tough to not sit back and kind of dwell on it a little bit. Granted, you need a short-term memory, especially as a reliever, because you could easily pitch the next night. But that next day during BP and stuff like that, we'd watch video with Kibler. We'd try to fine tune some things, because at that point in the season, when season rolls around, you got what you got, and then you just fine tune. You're not making big mechanical adjustments. You're not making huge pitch grip adjustments, stuff like that. So it's kind of like, I got what I got right now, and then you fine tune from there. So that's probably the biggest adjustment I had to learn this year, is not changing so much from outing to outing because it is so quick and back to back. Whereas a starter, you know, as you'd have 5, maybe 6 days in between, you can tweak some things and get off a mound once or twice. Like when in 2019, I made some mechanical adjustments, you know, changed some things when I was struggling. And so that's probably the biggest thing that you got to learn as a bullpen guys, just figure out what works for you and stick with it. And then make tiny adjustments, not big adjustments.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, coming back,
So how was this year for you, just staying on kind of the mental topic? Like you got injured kind of mid-season. Like just, talk about rehabbing, just that whole mental journey and process.
It was a grind, honestly. And it sucked because I was throwing so well before I got hurt. And then I knew exactly when I heard it. Like I was facing Cam Eden, who I played summer ball with, and I threw him a slider first pitch, and it was really good. Swung and missed. And then I was like, I got to make this one a little better. And then I kind of extended a little too far. And then that's when I felt it. But so that was frustrating. And it was frustrating to know that I was going to miss so much time. But I asked our trainers, I asked Stover, who's our rehab coordinator down here. I called Forbesy, everyone that I needed to call. And I was like, hey, can I please stay here in Spokane and do my rehab and not go back to Scottsdale? Like, I know when you get hurt and go back down to Scottsdale, it's almost like purgatory. Like you're kind of stuck there and you don't know what's going to happen next. You could be sent anywhere or you could be released like easily.
Right.
And they were like, yeah, of course. And so I wanted to stay in like that baseball game mental like approach. So I actually took on the role as the bullpen coach.
Nice.
So, I mean, for Kibler to allow me to do that was awesome. I mean, we have a really good relationship. Like he's helped out a lot. We train together while we're down here in Arizona because he lives down here too. So, I took on the bullpen coaching job. I mean, I was telling guys when to get hot. Me and Kibler were communicating that way. So it really helped me stay like locked in the season and stay in baseball mode. And that was the biggest thing for me because I feel like that's why I did come back and I was successful when I did come back. Because if I would have came back down to Scottsdale, I mean, I would have just been sad, depressed that I was down here and not with my guys up in Spokane. Yeah. So, I mean, for the Rockies to let me do that was pretty cool.
Yeah. There's something to be about being around the guys and helping just, again, rehab, like you're doing the physical stuff, but if your mental is not high, all in it, like, and having that in the back of your mind, there's a lot to it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so however many years it is down the line when your playing days are done, like is coaching something you want to do?
Dang. I don't know, to be honest. I mean, I would love to. It would be fun, but I don't know. I would love to stay in the game. I mean, it's basically the only thing I've ever known is sports. So I wouldn't mind coaching. It'd be tough to be a coach in the minor leagues, though.
Yeah, it seems like a big grind, and you're not getting like the reward of playing and stuff. So.
And the pay is just, and to be away from your family for 6 months and not make the greatest money, it would just be tough.
Right. You really have to love the game and like to that next level. Like, you don't love it, but how much?
Yeah. Well, so did you finish your degree at the University of the Pacific or? Almost.
No, not yet. I have like 8 classes left.
Okay.
Yeah. So 2, maybe 3 semesters.
Yeah. Sports management, right?
Yep.
Do they ever talk about Scott Boras out there?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Do they?
All the time. Yeah, I've met him. Okay. Yeah.
We were gonna ask, like, does he come around like pretty often and stuff?
Yeah, so and every time we play at Pepper, he's got a house in Malibu, so every time we play Pepperdine,
of course,
it's like party at my place on the beach.
Yeah, his nephew was actually there while I was at Pacific for 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, so Jimbo was there for 2 of the years.
Yeah. Does he have a statue?
No.
He probably just erected it himself. I'm like, hey guys, I'm here. That was my words, not yours. All right. We're hitting that 30-minute mark. I always try to keep it here. But I do want to talk about that Puerto Rico league. Yeah. You didn't get a lot of reps or anything, but what was that experience like?
It was fun. I think a lot of the American players that are, playing pro ball, if they get a chance to go play in the Dominican or, I wouldn't necessarily go to Venezuela, but Puerto Rico, those countries down there, Latin countries, I think Mexico, it was fun. I mean, and I met a lot of good guys. My roommate was in AAA with the Twins. Another guy that I was really close with was in the big leagues during COVID with the Twins. I mean, there's a guy from AAA with the Cardinals. So you play with a lot of guys that are like upper level dudes, big leaguers on our team. It was a lot of fun. I mean, it's an experience I'm very thankful for. I mean, I struggled early on because my injury that kind of popped back up, and then I started to struggle some stuff mechanically. Took 12 days off in between outings at one point, and then kind of figured it out towards the end. But by that time, it was too late. I mean, they needed a guy that could throw multiple days in a row, multiple innings, and I just wasn't built up for that yet.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But it was a lot of fun.
I was just gonna ask, is the atmosphere? I've been watching the Dominican League on MLB
it's
TV.
It's a little different than the Dominican League. It's not as we'll draw 2,500 fans, they draw 10,000.
Yeah.
So the Dominican League's like next level. Puerto Rico is kind of like, I don't know. I'd say it's kind of like the minor leagues to the Dominican in a sense. Okay. But the team I played for, Caguas, is actually, if they win tonight, they're going to the Caribbean Series.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, they were really good. I mean, Dom's team's the one that he played for Caguas. Yeah. And that's who's playing in the championship right now. So a couple Rockies employees that worked for the team I played for. So it's good to have some connections there, some familiar faces and stuff like that.
And so was that kind of like just, stay in shape, get reps, or were there a lot of like development goals when you went down there?
For me, it was just to get reps, because I did get hurt this year, and with 2020 being the COVID year and stuff like that. I mean, I only threw 20, I think after playoffs, I threw one inning in playoffs. So I threw like 20 in the third inning or 22/3 of an inning. So it was mostly just to get reps. Okay. Came down the month, like in between season and going down to Puerto Rico. I came down and threw instructs down here. So total, I probably got close to 30, 35 innings in this year, which is a lot better than if I would have just called it quits after season.
Right. Is that something that's important to you, or are you kind of pushing that a little bit more because of the injury this year?
Yeah, mostly because of the injury this year. I mean, if I wouldn't have got injured this year, hopefully I would have had anywhere from 50 to 60 innings and not had to, go to instructs and play in Puerto Rico and stuff like that. And I could have had a full off season, but I'm thankful for the opportunity that I had down there. It was cool.
Yeah, right. That's also part of your gig. Like, you get to do cool shit like that. Like, if you want to go any of those places in the winter, you can just go.
Yeah. I literally lived on the beach. Like, my apartment was on the beach.
Yeah, rough.
So I woke up every day to the beach. It was a lot of fun.
That's cool. That's fun.
Yeah,
that's cool. All right, let's end it with some fun questions. So usually do the softball questions, the fun little get to know you. Go to the college website, but Pacific did not do their work, so we're gonna ask them. We're gonna ask them for you.
All right, let's do it.
What's like your go-to meal?
All right, I'm gonna probably get some slack for this, but everybody in baseball world knows it already, or at least if you're close to me. Dino nuggets. They're slept on. They're slept on once you get over like 6 years old, but they're slept on.
I'll be honest. Yeah, I in the last couple of years of my life, I've had them, and so like I can understand that.
They're gas.
Reliable for sure too.
I do get a little excited when we make them for my sons and they don't eat them because I get the leftovers. I will give you that.
Yes. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
To build off that, what is your go-to Dino Nugget sauce?
Barbecue sauce, Sweet Baby Ray's original.
Yeah, the Ray's is where it's at.
Yeah, there might as well never be another barbecue sauce. Second to none.
Yeah, seriously. Like, my mother-in-law, you should see her pantry. Maybe I'll just I'm gonna send a picture of her pantry just to you and just show you her shelf of Sweet Baby Ray's. It's absolutely nuts.
We'd be good friends.
Yeah, it's incredible. Ribs every weekend. Got to get that Sweet Baby's Ray. Yeah, you'll do it. What's like? Nah, let's just go with this one before the next one. Favorite movie? What are you kicking back to when you just need to relax a little bit?
I might get some slack for this too. I mean, it was actually my walkout towards the end of the year because the Spokane Indians media girls got a hold of it, but it's The Greatest Showman.
Okay.
Not a big musical guy, but that movie fires me up, and the soundtrack, unbelievable. I jam out to it in my truck. It's fun.
You are unique, Shelby.
Yeah.
What's the perfect date night? Just some dino nuggets and the showman. I'm
a simple man.
Incredible. Last question. What's your like best favorite baseball moments? Like were you individual just like was at the peak performance, just everything was clicking and you just dominated fools?
Oh, dang.
I saw some of your numbers at your college. You had some outings.
Yeah, I mean, it was so I'll give you a college and a pro moment. So my college moment, we were playing Cal Poly on a Friday night, and all my best friends drove down to Cal Poly. I had a bunch of friends that went to Cal Poly, so I had a cheering section of probably 60 people at this game. And it was special. I mean, and I took a no-hitter into the 7th inning. And the hit I actually gave up was a rollover single that chopped into the 6th hole, and the shortstop dove, fielded it, but he just didn't throw the guy out in time. So, but that was probably the most like just I got taken out, and I mean I got a curtain call on the road from the 60 people. It was dope. So I mean that was really special.
That's fun.
And then in pro ball, it had to have been this past year. I mean, we were playing at Everett, and I got the save to clinch our playoff spot, and everybody ran out, and we celebrated, and then took some pictures on the field, and then we popped some bottles and stuff like that. So I mean, it was just the camaraderie that in that moment was just like I've never played on a team like that, and hopefully I play on another team because all these guys, hopefully they all move up with it. Like everyone moves up together. But
right,
if in that moment, that was the coolest thing I've ever gotten to do on a baseball field.
That dog pile probably hits a little bit different on the mound, huh?
Yeah. And when we clinched, like all of us at the hotel, all 30 of us, we hung out that whole night, and we hung out and just did our thing. And then we woke up the next day and whooped some butt again. We beat him again. So it was cool. I mean, it was a lot of fun.
Let's go. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Got that secondhand adrenaline just from hearing about that.
Yeah.
Those stories are always cool. Some of you have some sweet baseball moments, and it's just, it's pretty cool hearing it.
Yeah, it's a special game, and I'm fucking lucky I still get to play.
Right. We're lucky.
Yeah.
We'll just live vicariously through you for hearing out.
Yeah.
I appreciate you hanging out with us, Shelby. We're gonna have to do this again. Maybe catch up in the middle of the season, see how you're doing, and we're a pro reliever podcast. Tell all your friends.
I love it. I appreciate you guys shooting me a DM and getting me on this thing.
Yeah. Thanks for responding.
Awesome.
Don't be like PJ.
Yeah, I'll shoot PJ a call tomorrow, and I'll get his butt on here.
We'll take it.
He'd be a good guy to talk to.
Yeah, he seems like a lot of fun. That'd be cool.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, so but thank you guys. I appreciate it for having me, and I mean, hopefully we get to catch up again and go Rockies.
Go Rocks. Thank you for watching and listening. Please check out our link tree for more content.